Hello and welcome to Arrow's What Is series. My name is Steve Horrobin and I manage Arrow's pre-sales team within Arrow's modern data center practice. Today we are going to be asking, what is a data protection solution? I guess it's fairly straightforward, it gives it away really, but let's have a look in more detail. So, data protection solution. Right, so every organization starts off with what we term data. So you will have loads and loads of data in an organization. And on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, this data is being added to, it grows. Most organizations have a 5 to 10% growth, some may be larger, some may be smaller. The data, never mind growing, it's also changing. So sometimes you can go back into a spreadsheet or a database or a PowerPoint presentation and just change something, update it. That makes that new information. So you have to look at a way to protect the information. So all this data needs to be protected. Now, there's a number of steps that you can go through. I'm not going to name or go through any particular solutions. They all generally do the same thing in slightly different, subtle ways. But the first thing we need to do is probably snap our data. So we have something called snapshots or snaps. Now this can be a feature of the storage device that the data is sitting on, or it can be a feature of the data protection solution that you have implemented in your organization. So as we look through the data, you can see it changing day-to-day basis. So with a snapshot, we take exactly a snapshot of the data. So as we go through time, we might say in the morning at 9 a.m., I'm going to take a snapshot of my data. So that snapshot will be a view of the data at that time in the morning. So I have a snapshot. It's like taking a photograph of your data. So you have something that you can refer back to should you lose any data or need to have it recovered for whatever purposes. Or even retain data as well. So as the day goes on, we'll go from 9, let's go to 12. So we go to 12 p.m. Some of the data will be added to, we'll have some more data included in there. Some of the previous data may have been changed or updated. So we're now going to take another snapshot of our data. So this snapshot now includes all of the data up to 12 p.m. And we carry on from there. So we might go through 9 to 12 till 3, say 3 in the afternoon, and then 6 in the evening, and we'll take another snapshot and another snapshot. So by 3 p.m. there's more data being added, we can take another snapshot, and that's included in the 3 p.m. one, and then we have more data added to it, and then we finally have the snapshot at 6 p.m. in the evening. Now, each of those snapshots gives you a point-in-time copy of the data that you currently have within your organization. Now, why do we do this? Snapshots are very easy to take, they're very quick to take, they're very simple to take, but also they give you this point in time that you can roll back to. So, for example, if at 12 o'clock all your data is perfect, no problems at all, maybe sometime during the afternoon you had some sort of hit or attack and you had some sort of threat that was spotted inside the system. So threats spotted. At this point you may say, crikey, I knew this was going to happen at some point. What can I do? Now the best thing you can do is at that point, if you know that the 12 o'clock snapshot you took at midday was a clean snapshot, you can roll back. So it's very straightforward from the data protection solution or from the storage controller to roll back a snapshot. So that means you're moving all of your data pointers back to the 12 o'clock setting before potentially this threat gained access to your system. So you've rolled back to that point. You've maybe lost 2 hours worth of data, but hey, you're still operational. So that's worthwhile doing. Now, if you've implemented databases with change logs and things like that, you can then roll forward the change logs to the point where that threat detection was spotted and basically minimize your loss on any data associated with your databases. So a snapshot is a very, very quick and simple way of rolling back to a known good point to protect your data. Now, if we move forward from there, the next one obviously is a backup. And a backup is a means of taking a copy of the data into another file or another format or another type of media where you can take that information, save it, secure it, take it off site, do whatever you need to do to make sure that you have access to data, again, should your live systems be compromised. So if we look at backup, there is something called a 3-2-1 approach to backups. So it's 3 copies, 2 different types of media, and 1 being off-site. So 3 copies of your data. You could have your primary copy, you could have a primary duplicate, and you could have your DR copy. So those could be your 3 copies of your data. So you've replicated it within your primary data center. So you've got a primary copy and a primary duplicate. And then you've also got a copy in your disaster recovery center as well. So that's your 3 copies of your data. You're pretty well protected. Different types of media. Normally when you're backing up, the best way to do it these days is back up disk to disk, because you're getting the best speed there in transfer rates. Previously people used to back up from disk to tape, and that was very slow because you're reliant on the speed of the tape drive. Tape drives still have value, tape drives are still used. We'll touch that in a second, but most people today, when they take a backup, it'll go from their primary storage to a backup disk-based set as well. So you go from disk to disk, very fast, very quick. Now, your backups you may take during the night. So again, when you've got the least activity on your primary systems is the best time to take your backups. So you may say at 2, 3 or 4 a.m, I'm going to start my backup process. I'm going to start taking systems, snapshotting them. What you then do is the backup points to the snapshot. The backup takes the data from the snapshot, backs it up, puts it into a backup file or a backup repository, and again, where that can be accessed should it need to be. It can also move it onto a different type of media. So this other type of media could be tape. So what you do in that instance, you would take a copy of disk to tape. So tape would be the second step after you've taken your disk to disk copy. And again, the good things with tape is they're portable. You can put the tape into a box, you can send it off site, you can work with organisations like Iron Mountain, where they can collect tapes, take them away, store them in their warehouses, and should you need to recover data, then you can bring the tapes back in. So in terms of recovery, your snaps are going to be your fastest means of recovery. Your backup will be your next means of recovery. And then if you need to go to tape, you can bring information back from tape. Now, there is a third step, which is archive. And this means that it analyzes the data that you're backing up. And if that data has not been backed up for a predetermined period of time, let me rephrase that. If the data has not changed or altered in a predetermined period of time, then you can set an archive flag on that data. So, for example, if you had some file shares and some of those files hadn't been touched or opened in 6 months, then you set an archive flag on the file. What that means then is you can back up and move all the archive data out to some low-cost storage, or it could even be out to the cloud. Now, that data has not been accessed for a predetermined period of time. If it is then required, obviously you can bring the data back from an archive. It just takes a little bit longer based on where it may be, or if you have to go to tapes. But once that data has been set within the backup process as being archived data, the backup system will not continue to back up that data. So what's the point in backing up archived data? It hasn't been accessed, very frequently used, it's been moved to an archive storage, so now we can simply carry on and not back that data up. But we still have it protected, so it's not a problem. Okay, so that's quickly going through a data protection solution. This is what it will provide for you. There's many different vendors on the marketplace. Some of them provide just the software. Some of them provide appliances as well. So you have the hardware to run the software on. Also, that provides a database that you can store your backups into. And again, that can grow depending on the amount of data that you're backing up. And a lot of them as well now have this archive out to the cloud, or this cloud connectivity for the back end. So I hope that's shown you again how you can protect your data. Every organization should have this. It's not too bad to move between different vendors if you have any issues. So there's always opportunities, should vendor A not want to work anymore, or vendor B is more cost efficient, or I'm going to have savings from vendor C. It's okay to move between those. So this has been What is a Data Protection Solution? This is part of Varro's What is series. I hope you've enjoyed that, and I'll look forward to seeing you on the next video. Thank you very much.